make it the only way they know how. That's just a little bit more than the law will allow. Man, I see so many cops. I'm hanging over here at Fort Smith. I got into Oklahoma. This one poor lady, she's pulled over. She had 13 highway patrols behind her. I guess they're just bored. I don't know. Some kind of sting operation, maybe. I don't know. I got the green light at the scale house, so they're not messing with trucks. They are all over the motoring public. November 17th, 2025, Highway 69 at the Oklahoma line. So I just wanted to make this video. Like, I was thinking about that one season when Bo and Luke Duke were replaced by their cousin Vance and Coy. And I was like, I kind of thought about the New York deal where they're like, never forget what they've done. You know what I mean? And it seemed like a good theme for, bringing up China replacing like God and Jesus in the Bible with their, Winnie the Pooh guy. And they got state-run churches over there now. My wife was explaining to me that they really shut down the underground churches over there and the actual Bible study, but they've replaced with false Bibles and state authorized twisted, wicked Bibles where Winnie the Pooh is Jesus or whatever. And I guess their leader over there, he looks like Winnie the Pooh. And I think he's mad about people saying that too. So, no bother. Anyway, then I heard news that somebody in Texas got arrested for a meme. And then I couldn't find it anywhere else. But there was like a sheriff or whatever. Because I was going to call him and talk all crazy to him just to try to get arrested so I could sue him. And I thought, well, is this legit or whatever like that? And then come to find out, it was a political deal, but it sounded like a call to violence. Which that's kind of understandable. So we got our Second Amendment, but you can't yell fire in a theater. You know what I mean? So there's limits and restrictions. Okay? Or that's our First Amendment, the right to free speech. And if you don't like what I'm saying, that's fine. If I'm trying to juice the crowd to enact political violence upon you, or just violence, I guess, but especially if you're political, because apparently if you're running for office, you have more rights than a normal person somehow, and because you're a representative, right? So you're getting authority of the people voting for you to go and represent them, and then seems like if I could get arrested for a political meme and then point out that they're not representing me or anybody else, but they're actually representing their donors, it seems like that would be a good place to start out. And then I don't think that I would sue for the money. I think I would sue for the abolish property tax, which is unconstitutional in America and unconstitutional in Texas. And then they take the value of my house, take it out of their system, change the value, put it back in the system until it works out with their funny numbers to have enough tax money for them to pay their bills, which they can't pay. And then they use that income to write bonds, and then they're going to, allegedly pay off these bonds in the future by raising the taxes again. So I went from $2,200 in property tax to $7,000 in property tax in 3 years, and 6 to 8 double. So that would be around $14,000 property tax. Okay, so that's over $1,000 a month that I got to pay the state of Texas just to live there. Which, I'm not exactly broke. I'm not exactly rich. You know, God provides, so, you know, it ain't like it's, I can't do it or whatever else like that. But do I even want to? And do the people around me have that ability? And then is it really going to actually double up like that? And yeah, unless there's a drastic change, yes it will. So I guess it's into fraud. And then like the state comptroller and who's getting these bonds and then who's recertifying these bonds. I think you find out the 401ks and the pensions are getting the bond, and then mom and pop can't afford to pay the tax on the farm, so they're going to lose the farm because of the increase in property tax and the increase in insurance costs. So, you know, I lived here for $3,000 a month, and now I'm at $6,000 a month, and in 7 years, chances are I'll be at, you know, around $7,000 a month is what it'll take. And then whatever these families have poured into the 401k, eventually, when these bonds turn up no good, because they're no good, there's no possibility for the people to increase their income to match what they're doing. So like right now, for the past 3 years, this gate and fence situation, I would have been able to do with my tax money, and I would have increased the value of my home by approximately $30,000 with this pipe fence, gate, electric system, and water for the roses and blackberry vines in the front fence. So with just the extra money that's going to the school system. Okay, now this is the crazy part. It's these school bonds. It's the crazy part. My actual taxes are about $700. The rest of it goes to the school, and the school takes the money and they build a football stadium. They build these giant buildings, and they got these $1 million air conditioning systems, and they got an entryway that's, you know, 3 stories with round windows, and they could have had a 1-story entryway with square windows for $40,000 in this brand new building. Instead, they spent $400,000 for the entryway. So they're just wasting this money left and right like it ain't even funny. And then they're going to try to juice me and get more money out of me. So I'm at the point where I have to pull out of Texas and move back to Oklahoma just to survive. And then if I wait, these other people don't realize this is happening, are still buying in. So I probably missed the peak for moving out in general in my area. However, in my area, they're almost done with the construction of the new grocery store, Starbucks, and the 4-lane 455, and all that. And then there's been like 6 more $1 million houses built right next to me. So everybody's got a horse, F-350 and a stock trailer that just make you, it's a bedazzled stock trailer. 4 people can sleep in this thing while you're carrying 8 horses, and then put 6 bales of hay on top of it, and the Ford King Ranch Super Duty thing. I mean, this is an $80,000 trailer being pulled by a $120,000 truck going to their 5 to 10 acre section of horse and goodness, and barrel racing and all that type of stuff. So I get it. Yeah, they're like, my property value actually is going up from my estimation, just from the neighborhood improvements. However, I paid $220,000 for my house. I should have paid whoever received the money, the seller, should have paid a sales tax. I don't think there's any such thing as a buyer's tax, is there? Where I got to pay tax to buy something? Oh wait, yeah, there is. So okay, cool. At the point of transaction. Okay, so now I own this place, and you say it's worth more money, but I didn't sell it. So that's unrealized gains. So anything from the point of sale, all those increases, that's fraud. That's fraud. I don't care what you say it's worth. I didn't sell it. Why do I owe you? I can understand taxes, okay? So I bought it for X amount. That should lock in the price of tax. And if you want to tax me that again every year, that's illegal. But I understand, like, if you need $700-800 for utility stuff or whatever, that's fine. Hell, if you need $500 to contribute to the maintenance of the school, okay, cool. You don't need $6,700 out of my pocket to give to the school based on unrealized gains every year. You know what I mean? So if I'm paying, if I'm paying approximately $4,000 for, my mortgage and escrow, and then I'm paying you another $1,000 every month. You know what I mean? And then I'm paying $5,000 for insurance, $7,000 for fucking property tax. I can get it done. Don't get me wrong. The Lord will provide. However, if you think I'm going to do that for the next 15 or 20, 30 years, yeah. If you think that the people buying into my neighborhood can do that, yeah. Are they gonna? No. And then based on this bond system and the way you guys are doing stuff, you're going to jack these houses all the way to the price of these houses out there in California. So you're going to have 3-bedroom houses for $700,000-800,000, and nobody to buy them. Nobody's going to buy that shit. People living there are going to lose their ass and move. They're going to try to sell. If they're lucky, they'll get the money out of it that they owe, and they'll just leave with nothing. So the tax system in Denton County is effectively stealing everybody's house. Okay? And that same fraud is being perpetrated in every school district in the United States right now. When they said don't California by Texas, this is exactly what they were talking about. This is the exact problem. They took the school district and the way that school people generate money, and they took that system and they spread it throughout the country to ultimately make the dollar default. They're going to rob everybody blind in the meantime. And there's a few states that are bucking against it or whatever. But it is literally a federal felony when they mail me the fraudulent bill. When they send the bill through the United States Post Office to my house with the fraudulent numbers. Like, I have an assessment, a recent assessment of what the house is worth, according to real estate people that are just guessing. Multiples. And then I have the actual paperwork of what I paid for the property. For sure. Got a mortgage. They're pretty thorough. Every dime. Alright? Recently. And, within the last 5 years. And there's no legal way for you to tax me $7,000 on a $220,000 purchase every year for the rest of my life. There's no way that that's legal. It goes against the Constitution. It goes against common sense. For them to take my assessment value and raise it to $634,000 last year, now it's over $700,000. According to who? According to who? You know what I mean? You know, comptroller of, Denton County, Texas. Find me this person that will pay me your assessed value. Find me this person. I will sell that property today to that person for that amount. No problem. No problem whatsoever. Give me the $750,000 and I'll sign your paperwork. But if you can't, where'd you get that number? You're a lying son of a bitch. You're a felon. That is fraud. And it's happening to everybody, for sure, in the state of Texas. For sure, in the state of Texas. And what happens if I'm on a fixed income and I've been living in this house and now I'm 70 and I'm on a fixed income and my taxes go from $2,000 to $7,000, my insurance goes, so I'm going to let the insurance go. So now if something happens, I'm screwed. And then I'm paying all my money to these taxes and I'm old. What then? You know what I mean? And then y'all come out and say, oh, well, we're not going to tax them on the first $100,000 worth of whatever. Dude, it's a $200,000 house that you say is worth $750,000. You overpriced it by $500,000 and then said that you're going to cut grandma slack for $100,000 of the fraudulent $500,000. You're still fraudulently collecting on $400,000. There is no such thing as a 3-bedroom house in Texas worth $750,000. It's a 3-bedroom house. You're out of your fucking mind. You're lying. You're lying. And all your lies are on paper. And the truth comes out. The Lord fights my battles. The Lord fights my battles. Now, I wanted to document this right here. I was thinking about Bo and Luke, dude, and I was like, remember what they've done. And you watch. This will be the actual financial collapse where they're going to turn around and they're going to come out with these funny numbers and reevaluate everything. And that'll be the new system. And then if you deny Christ, you can be a part of it and play ball. But if you won't, you're beat. And then you're going to have to find somebody that will to, pay the taxes on your hippie commune in the middle of nowhere and just, eat peaches and grow watermelons, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know. But that's just the document today. Document the journey. Rock Hill.